Hello, everybody. My name is Happy, and I'd like to welcome you all to my History Reaction channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a parody of Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire. This is a 400 AD to 1600 AD edition, if you will, by Bardcore on the site for Hildegard von Blingin. Love the name. Great name. All right. I've always loved Billy Joel's songs. I grew up in the 80s. Of course I did. We Didn't Start the Fire was one of my favorites. For those of you who haven't heard the original, it is kind of a walkthrough of some pop culture icons and darker historical events of the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It just kind of gives you a glimpse into the window. My mother and I used to always debate because she was always trying to sell me on the idea that from the ending of World War II up through the early 60s, everything was perfect in the United States. Nothing was wrong. There was nothing, and everything had gone worse since then and progressively worse, and it's just terrible. And I used to, whenever she'd start that kind of an argument, I'd always play this song for her because it highlights some of the dark events of the 50s and the 60s. Even the late 40s. As the song says, we didn't start the fire, it's always been burning as the world's been turning. There's always been dark, tragic events throughout history. And people, they look back at their childhood, they remember it more fondly because they were safer, they were protected by their parents, they were sheltered. And you tend to forget the darker moments. You tend to focus in on the things that you enjoyed or that made you feel good. Doesn't mean that the darkness wasn't there. The fire was burning the whole time. So I'm curious to see how Bardcore handles this. I will include a link to the original video in the description down below. If you enjoy this, please head over to Hildegard von Blingin. Show them some love and support for this video. All right. One thing I'll say about before we get into this, I'm going to do what I usually do with other musical sites like Epic Rap Battles or Sabaton, where I've been letting it play through an entire verse and we'll go back and we'll break it down. I have no idea how much I'll catch in this. Might be a lot, might be a very little. I just don't know. I don't know. I know the time period because it says in the description they're going from 400 AD to 1600 AD roughly. I'm assuming it's primarily going to be Europe, Eurocentric, if you will. I don't know how much we're going to touch on Asia or other parts of the world. But that's a lot of history and a lot of territory to cover any way you look at it. And we'll see how much we can get. Here we go. I love the song done to the style. Lyrics and vocals by Friar Funk, excuse me. Okay, let's hear it, Friar Funk. I do like the medieval instrumentation, though. It fits.
Eleanor of Aquitaine, Charles VI hath gone insane, Reconquista, Geoffrey Chaucer, Michelangelo, Marco Polo, Magna.
Let's go ahead and go back and break that part down.
Eleanor of Aquitaine,
famous queen of both France and then later England, mother of Richard I and John, who will later become King Richard the Lionheart and King John of Robin Hood fame. That's who we're talking about here.
Charles VI hath gone insane.
Charles VI, King of France, probably best remembered by most people for his madness.
Reconquista, Geoffrey.
Reconquista, that would be the Iberian reconquest of the peninsula, taking it back from the Muslims, the Moors, if you will. This is where you're going to see things like the Spanish Inquisition coming into play, and it's just very long effort to push the Muslims out, and then towards the end, that's where you start getting more of the Inquisition, and it's not just going to be the Muslims. You're going to start getting effort to push out anybody who is not doesn't follow the same Catholic principles as the rulers. Geoffrey Chaucer, author of the Canterbury Tales.
Chaucer, Michelangelo,
famous artist. All right, next section.
Marco Polo, Magna Carta, Christian Schism, Siege of Acre, Byzantine iconoclasm, Guillaume de Machaut.
Okay. All right. I think I can get all those too. Whoops, I went too far back. Michelangelo.
Marco Polo, Magna Carta.
Marco Polo, famous Venetian explorer. Best probably remembered for his travels down into the Orient, China, and so on. Inspiration for Columbus. Christian Schism. I'm sure they're talking about the division between the Catholics on one side and the Orthodox on the other. There were a lot of reasons this occurs. One of the big ones, which is often a cause of schism within faith, the Trinity, the nature of the Trinity. Are they three in one or three separate individuals? But there's other things involved as well.
Christian Schism, Siege of Acre, Byzantine iconoclasm.
Siege of Acre, that is related to the Crusades. Acre is one of the main Christian outposts in the early Crusades. It does come under siege famously. I believe it was the Third Crusade. I could be wrong on that. I'm not the best at remembering which number is which. Byzantine iconoclasm. Yeah, that was in the Orthodox Church. There was this big controversy, if you will, over the use of icons. Traces back to things like the commandment, thou shalt not worship graven images. Or what is an icon but an image? And so should we be using these? Should we be praying to them? That kind of thing. And iconoclasm is when we get into this period where people are frowning on icons and tearing them down. And of course, Byzantine Empire.
Guillaume de Machaut.
Guillaume de Machaut, a famous poet and composer. I think he was best known for composing, but I could be wrong. Not as solid on that one, but I'm pretty sure that's who we're talking about. Next section. Here we go.
Charlemagne, Alfred, and Blingin without a head. Few things here to read, but the name Castile with Aragon, second Pope in Avignon, Novgorod, Genghis Khan, Beowulf, Decameron.
Decameron. Okay, I think I got most of those. Most, anyway.
Charlemagne, Alfred.
Charlemagne, Charles the Great, first Holy Roman Emperor. Alfred, that's got to be Alfred the Great, I'm assuming. I don't know what he looks like, so I don't know if that picture is him, but that'd be my guess. They're talking about Alfred the Great, King of England, fights a Viking. Wife of King Henry VIII, executed. Yeah, Anne Boleyn without a head for sure. Not the most tasteful lyrics, but I'll let it pass.
Few things here to read, but the Nibelungen
I love that. Nibelungen. Germanic phrase. Anytime you see something like that ending in lead, we're probably talking about musical arrangement. I believe lead actually means song, but it's typically going to be like an epic poem set to music. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. What throws me off here is there's nothing here to read but the Nibelungen lead. But a lead is usually something that is performed musically. All right. Continuing.
Castile with Aragon, second Pope in Avignon, Novgorod.
So Castile with Aragon, that's referring to the union of Castile and Aragon, two separate kingdoms. Isabella of Castile Isabella is the Queen of Castile. Ferdinand is the King of Aragon. They marry, unite their kingdoms. Then we have what we now think of as Spain. And then right after that, what did they mention right after that?
Castile with Aragon, second Pope in Avignon.
Second Pope in Avignon, another division within the church. This time we end up with two popes, one in Rome, one in Avignon.
Novgorod, Genghis Khan.
Well, those two are kind of indirectly related. Novgorod is a famous early city in what's now Russia. It's located just a little bit south of Lake Ladoga, not too terribly far from where St. Petersburg is now. There's a couple of Novgorod. There's Novgorod Nizhny. We're talking primarily about Novgorod the Great, supposedly founded by Rurik, the founder of the Kievan Rus. Later, it is ruled by Alexander Nevsky, who protected both from the Teutonic Knights, or more specifically, the Livonian Order of the Teutonic Knights, as well as the Mongols. Not Chinggis Khan, but his descendants. But Novgorod's not just the city, but it also is the area around the city. It's controlled by it. Later, it becomes the Republic of Novgorod. And of course, Chinggis Khan needs no introduction. That's Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, and the guy who took the Mongols on this whole Eurasian tour, and basically panicked everybody. Beowulf and Decameron are both epic works of literature. Beowulf being kind of a legendary story of King Beowulf. He famously killed Grendel, and then Grendel's mother, and then finally a dragon. The Decameron, I'm surprised they included it, but it's really a good read if you're interested in literary reflections on historical periods. Because what it is, it reminds me a little bit of Canterbury Tales, or maybe even Arabian Nights. It's a collection of 100 or so short stories told as from the perspective of a group of men and women who get together and tell these stories to each other. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what this image is showing here, is the people sharing the stories of the Decameron. And it's a collection of, like I said, 100 short stories set during the Black Plague. So it's a really good window into how people were viewing the Black Plague closer to when it actually happened.
Did not start the fire. It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. No, we did not light it, but we tried to fight it. Henry Tudor, Saladin, Richard and the Winter King, and the Svanos raids, children on crusade.
Okay, I might have to. Hopefully, I can get Lindisfarne from the image that they put. It's familiar, but I'm having trouble placing it. Henry Tudor, Henry, what would it be? The 7th, I think. Yeah, because he's the father of Henry VIII, so it would be Henry the 7th. He is the first founder of the Tudor dynasty at the end of the War of the Roses. Is that right? That's right. Something like that. One of my weaker areas. Saladin, famous leader of the Muslim forces during the Crusades. Richard and the Winter King. Richard and the Winter King. King Richard III, and the Winter King is Henry Tudor, Henry the 7th. This is the end of the War of the Roses, and this is when the Tudor dynasty officially takes over. Lindisfarne.
Henry Tudor, Saladin, Richard and the Winter King.
Yeah, Henry the 7th was also called the Winter King. I'm not sure why. Somebody else will have to tell me that. Lindisfarne. Oh, okay. I know what it is. This is the Viking raid. Yeah.
Children on crusade.
Children's Crusade, one of the Crusades. This is where it's supposedly begun by children, but don't get the idea that it was only children. As the children march through Europe, they pick up a lot more followers, typically from the lower classes that are going to the Holy Land to join the Crusades.
John Kalmar Union, Hanseatic trade.
Yeah, we're in a new section, so I'm just gonna let it play through. Okay, so
On us raids, children on crusade.
Okay, next section.
Rome gone.
Fall of Rome to the Goths.
Castillon.
Castillon, that is one of the final battle. I think maybe the final battle of the 100 Years' War. The final major battle, anyway, the best known.
Mona Lisa, King John.
Mona Lisa, famous painting. King John, son of Eleanor of Aquitaine, which we talked about earlier, brother of Richard the Lionheart. Also the king that is restrained by the Magna Carta, the king of Robin Hood fame. All right.
Children on crusade. Rome gone, Castillon, Mona Lisa, King John, Kalmar Union, Hanseatic trade.
Kalmar Union, I'm not 100% sure on. I know it's a union between a couple of the Scandinavian states, but I can't for the life of me remember which two. I just know that it was a marriage that united a couple of the Scandinavian countries. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Hanseatic trade, that refers to trade primarily controlled by the Hanseatic League. This was a collection of trading areas. I believe it was led in Lubeck, but also included cities like Novgorod, which we talked about earlier, Berga up in Scandinavia, and then we had Riga, which is, I think, now Estonia, isn't it? One of those Baltic states, anyway. I lose track sometimes. Who else was in the Hanseatic League? Danzig. Also, I believe London participated, at least as part of it. Primarily operates in the Baltic and a little bit of the North Sea. But pretty well-established trading league. All right, let's continue.
Kipchaks, horseback, Constantinople, Sax, Song of Roland, Silk Demand, Wallachia, Holy Land, Grunwald, Manzikert, Barbarossa, Golden Spurs, Joan of Arc, Patriarch, Battle of Lepanto.
All right. Reading the lyrics as we go by so I can keep track of what's going on here.
Hanseatic trade. Kipchaks, horseback.
Kipchaks were a nomadic steppe nomad. Again, one of the famous horse nomads of the steppes. Constantinople sacked. That's the what was it? The Fifth Crusade. Like I said earlier, I lose track of the numbers really easily. But yeah, one of the Crusades is heading to liberate the Holy Land. They get drawn into a family war, if you will, over the crown in Constantinople. They end up sacking Constantinople, which leaves the Byzantine Empire in a horrible position and really kind of opened the door for the final Islamic conquest of the Byzantine Empire. So, good job, Crusaders. You certainly helped reclaim the land for the Christianity, right? Maybe.
Constantinople sack, Song of Roland.
Song of Roland, famous French song, ballad, if you will, of Sir Roland of. Better stop myself there. The story of Sir Roland. So Sir Roland to the Dark Tower came. It was the inspiration for Stephen King's Dark Tower trilogy series. Roland the Gunslinger. Silk Demand, that's got to be the Silk Road.
Demand Wallachia, Holy Land.
Wallachia was the realm of, among others, Vlad Tepes Dracul, Vlad the Impaler. It's in the area which we now think of as Transylvania. It once was Wallachia. It was engaged in a lot of conflicts over the years with various factions, notably the Muslim, but also other European powers, including, among others, again, the Teutonic Knights. I don't remember if they were actually protected by the Teutonic Knights at one point. Anyway, Holy Land, we're talking Jerusalem, Israel, Syria, down in that region. the goal of the Crusades, put it that way.
Grunwald
Grunwald. I need to see the image. Grunwald. Okay. Grunwald is a battle, that much I'm sure of. And I'm pretty sure it was in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and it involved, again, the Teutonic Knights. Manzikert. Yeah, okay. That one is a battle between the Muslims and the Byzantine Empire, and I'm pretty sure the Byzantines lost that one. Barbarossa is Frederick I of the Holy Roman Emperor, Frederick Barbarossa, famously dies on his way to I believe the Third Crusade. Again, number of the Crusades I'm terrible at. Some of his men continue on. They discover that they don't have much of a support system for Germanic forces in the Holy Land, so they found the Holy Order of the Teutonic Knights. They're originally a hospital order to provide hospitals for German forces in the Holy Land, much like the Knights Hospitaller. But later they become more of a militant order with the blessings of the Pope, and then they end up fighting battles up north in places like Wallachia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and then up in what is now Prussia area. So yeah, the Golden Spurs, another famous battle. That was, I could be wrong here, but I think it was the Franco-Flemish War between France and Flanders. But I could be wrong on that one.
Joan of Arc, Patriarch, Battle of Lepanto.
Joan of Arc, I don't think needs much introduction. Famous French heroine from the 100 Years' War. Patriarch is the head of the Orthodox Church. And Battle of Lepanto. That was a famous naval battle between Christian forces and Muslim forces. At Lepanto, obviously. The main thing I know about that one, other than it was an epic naval battle, was that one of the participants of the Battle of Lepanto was Miguel de Cervantes, who would go on to be severely injured in Lepanto. He'd have I believe he was shot and had his arm shattered, and he had another injury, I believe, in the hip or the leg. I don't remember exactly. He became known as the Cripple of Lepanto. After that battle, he and his brother kind of started making their way home. They were captured by Barbary pirates. His brother is ransomed by the family. Miguel de Cervantes is actually imprisoned, awaiting ransom for several years before the Trinitarians are able to ransom him. His experiences in the war and as a prisoner of the Barbary pirates are kind of what inspire him to write Don Quixote, the first great novel, European novel anyway. So, yeah, interesting trivia about the Battle of Lepanto. Let's continue.
Did not start the fire. It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. No, we did not light it, but we tried to fight it. Canterbury, Nicephorus, Acre, Venus, Canton, Sicily, Norman's Land in Italy.
This one, we're getting harder now. Okay. I say I don't know Nicephorus, but I think I do have to see it.
We did not light it, but we tried to fight it. Canterbury, Nicephorus.
Canterbury, obviously famous city in England, famous for Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Nicephorus, at first I wasn't sure, but I got a glimpse of the image. It was actually a common name for kings in the Byzantine Empire. There were several Nicephoruses. I couldn't tell you if they're referring to one in particular, or if they're just pulling the King Louis of France route and covering like a dozen of them, because it was a common name in the Byzantine Empire for their kings. Okay, alchemy is the precursor of chemistry. It is the study of mixing chemicals together for a variety of purposes, but most famously for seeking the elixir of eternal life, or a way to transmute one material to another, most famously lead to gold.
I divided Canterbury, Nicephorus, alchemy, Venus.
I should know this one. I should know this one. But I'm drawing a blank on it. It's a king, I'm pretty sure. I want to say Hungary. Maybe Austria, or maybe Austria-Hungary. But I could be very wrong on that. So if you guys know, let me know. Cancrum.
Canterbury.
Let's see if I can get an image. But I think I know who that is. Yeah. Cancrum. I don't know much about him, but I'm pretty sure we're referring to a Bulgar king. About 90% sure.
Cancrum, Sicily, Normans land in Italy.
So Sicily, the island of Sicily. I don't know where else to go with that, really. Normans land in Italy, also I think very self-explanatory. Norman coming from the Northmen. We're talking about the Vikings again. They're just everywhere, aren't they?
Hippodrome, Notre Dame, Timur in Afghanistan, double prince, homicide, 7 papal regicides.
All right, let's wrap that up.
Sicily, Normans land in Italy. Hippodrome.
Hippodrome literally comes from the word for horse race. It's a large amphitheater. This is a pretty good example of a hippodrome. The most famous hippodrome being the Hippodrome of Constantinople. Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, famous for its hunchback and, being Notre Dame. Timur in Afghanistan. That's got to be a reference to, what is his name? Tamerlane. Tamerlane leads Timur into invasions of many countries, including Afghanistan. So I'm assuming that's what we're talking about there. The death of the two princes. This is all part of the ongoing conflict between King Richard III and the Tudors. 7 papal regicides. I'm not sure if that's referring to a specific period or not. I think it is, but there was a lot of murders of popes going on during the medieval period. So I'm guessing this is a reference to that, but I really couldn't give you a lot of specifics on any whether this was they're referring to a specific period or not. But I do know that there were a lot of them during the medieval period.
7 papal regicides. Edinburgh, Malta, Venceslas, Bohemia. A stronghold, Mansa has got gold.
Yes, he does. All right. Okay, some of this might be tricky. Edinburgh, Scotland. I don't know where to go with that other than historic capital city, if you will. The island of Malta, the Knights of Malta. Wenceslas, Bohemia, King of Bohemia. Wenceslas was a king of Bohemia. We still remember him to this day with good King Wenceslas came to town on the Feast of Stephen. But not sure where else to go with any of that other than the obvious. Hunadora Stronghold. That one I'm not familiar with. If anybody knows, let me know. Probably a famous castle or fortress that was sieged, I would imagine, but Mansa Musa does got gold. King of Mali famously takes a road trip across Africa and Europe into Middle East. He's on the Hajj. He's off to see Mecca. He is a Muslim. And along the way, he puts so much gold into the economy of several of the places that he's passing through that he kind of collapses the economies of these places, drives inflation sky high because he put so much gold out there. One of the richest men in history, if not the richest man in history.
Ghazi, Gutenberg, Baghdad, and Mosul burn, gunpowder twofold, panic against the Mongols.
Panic against the Mongols is good advice.
A stronghold, Moses got gold.
Ghazi. That's definitely got something to do with Islam, but I'm not sure beyond that what it is. So again, if you know, let me know.
Ghazi, Gutenberg.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's not somehow related to the Gaza Strip, but I don't know. I really don't know. Gutenberg, inventor of the printing press, famous with the Gutenberg Bibles, the early Bibles that were printed using his invention.
Baghdad and Mosul burn.
That's the Mongol invasion of Middle East, Baghdad, and Mosul. The siege of Baghdad, the fall of Baghdad.
Gunpowder twofold.
I'm not sure why they say twofold, but the image showed that looked like the Chinese. So I'm assuming they're talking about gunpowder being introduced or being developed in China. Wait, let me go back to that image.
Ghazi, Gutenberg, Baghdad, and Mosul burn.
Not really sure. I mean, I get the gunpowder reference, okay? Gunpowder is being introduced in Europe from China, where it's used primarily as fireworks initially. But why twofold? I'm not sure. If anybody has any ideas why they say gunpowder twofold, let me know.
Powder twofold, panic against the Mongols.
Definitely panic against the Mongols, 100%. When they're coming, it's time to panic.
Did not start the fire. It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. No, we did not light it, but we tried to fight
it. Get harder,
Antioch, Sassanids, Spaniards in a strange land, Fatimids, El Cid, Ottoman invasion.
Okay, a lot going on there.
We did not light it,
here we go. Break it down. Antioch, another city associated with the Crusades, among other things. Also the home of the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, obviously. Monty Python reference, if you don't know.
Sassanids
were a, how do I want to put this? They were a pre-Islamic Persian empire. Spaniards in a strange land, the Spanish conquest of the New World, the Caribbean and South America, Central America in particular.
Spaniards in a strange land, Fatimids, El Cid.
Fatimids were a early group of Islamic caliphs. El Cid, that's Rodrigo de Vivar, famous Spanish knight, most often associated with Valencia.
Ottoman invasion.
Ottoman invasion. I'm assuming we're talking about the spread of the Ottoman Empire. I'm not really sure where else to go with that. Let's continue.
Doom Arabia, Christian relic mania, Hussites, Swiss pikes, executing Templar knights.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go back. We did that. Invasion. Here we go. Rashidun Arabia. That's another, I'm guessing that's another reference to early Islamic expansion, because this is literally the early period of Islamic presence in Arabia.
Christian relic mania.
Christian relic mania. Yeah, there was a period, I mean, there have been several periods, but there was a period when Europe had relic mania. I can't think of a better word for it. This obsession with finding holy relics. There's enough splinters of the true cross to probably build 1,000 crosses out there. But the Holy Grail, the Shroud of Turin, as you see in this image, key splinters of the true cross, the Spear of Destiny, any kind of holy relic was sought after. People were just absolutely obsessed with this. It doesn't necessarily have to be something directly from related to Christ himself, like the one we just mentioned. It can be things like the hair or the bone or the blood of a saint. There was just this huge obsession during the medieval period with collecting relics. Like I said, there's enough pieces of true cross to build dozens of true crosses now.
Hussites, Swiss pikes, executing Templar.
Hussites.
Christian relic mania. Hussites.
Oh, I should know that one. I know what they are, but I'm drawing a blank on it. The name's familiar. Let me know in the comments. I'm not going to try to keep remembering. I should know that one, though. I should.
Swiss pikes.
Swiss pikes. The Swiss and their early pike formations, which kind of helped revolutionize the use of pole-arms versus cavalry, among other things. Executing Templar Knights. This is the fall of the Knights Templar. There is a huge movement. They've become too powerful, too diversified. They've gotten into early banking and things like that, and they're seen as a threat by many monarchs as well as even the church. So you see this sudden, almost a conspiracy against the Templars. This leads to a very, very rapid gathering and execution of Templar Knights. It's pretty amazing how they pulled this off. Something we probably want to go to in depth at some point in the future.
Executing Templar Knights.
Okay, this is a new section, so let's go right through it.
Hussites, Swiss pikes, executing Templar Knights. Lichtenauer's Canterbury, holding up the Pechenegs. Black Plague, here to stay. What else do I dare to say?
All right, I don't know half of these. I'll see if I can get any of them from the image.
Executing Templar Knights. Lichtenauer.
Lichtenauer. I have heard that name. Was he a German? I want to say, well, the name says German. A Germanic swordsman who was famous for his sword skills. I think so, but I could be wrong on that. The image makes me think that. And I've been watching a lot of videos on European martial arts, and I'm pretty sure I've heard that name come up in that context. Canterbury. Again, another one I'm just not. No idea. Obviously a major battle, but I'm not sure who's fighting who at Canterbury. Sorry, guys. You know, let me know. Came back to this one. The Pechenegs were another group of steppe nomads. But that's really all I can say about it.
Black Plague.
Black Plague here to stay. Yeah, Black Death. The plague in general.
Here to stay. What else do I dare to say?
What else do you say about that?
It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. No, we did not light it, but we tried to fight it. Nicaea troubadours, William Wallace torn in four. Falkirk glasswork, Stamford Bridge, Turks.
All right. I think I can get most of those at least.
Did not light it, but we tried to fight.
All right, here we go.
Nicaea.
Nicaea, the councils of Nicaea, discussions on the nature of Christianity, to put it as simply as possible. What books to include, what not to include, things like that.
Troubadours, William.
Troubadours, court entertainers, William Wallace, Torn in Four. That is a drawing and quartering of William Wallace, famous Scottish rebel leader against England. If you've seen Braveheart, you know everything there is not to know about Wallace, because that movie gets it all wrong, but hey.
Wallace torn in four, Falkirk,
Falkirk. That's another Scottish battle. Glasswork, I'm assuming they're talking about literally the development of glasswork, glass blowing, as you see the guy in the middle there doing.
Stamford Bridge, good Turks.
Stamford Bridge, that is the battle for England. That's what Harold Hardrada versus Harold Godwinson. It's one of the two big battles that kind of define the future of England. The other one, of course, being Harold versus William the Conqueror. Go Turks. We're referring to early Turkish expansion. Don't know what else to say about that one either. Turkish tribes. Or Turkish forces, I should say. Go Turks. Let's continue. Sorry, my brain's starting to get completely muddled by this barrage of information.
Barons, Ulster Sovereign, Carriage versus Jacques Le Brie, Carrick sail across the sea, Walpurgis, Fechtburg, Haslan and the Seljuks, Clontarf, Lombards, Habsburgs, Bannockburn.
We're going to stop there because we're just going to keep escalating. A lot of these I won't know, I don't think. The images might tip me off on a few of them. Let's see where we go with this. All right, I've got us back to where we started. Here we go. 3-year famine, that could be just about anything in this time period we're talking about. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably the Great Famine from, what was it, 1315 to 1317, I believe. That's just a guess, so. Like I said, it could just be just about any famine, but there was a Great Famine 1315 that was extremely bad for this time period. Medicine, yeah, we start seeing some advances in medicine, not great, but we do start getting some advances during this period, especially towards the latter end of it. Still got a long way to go, though. I'm not sure what specific incident they might be referring to here. If you guys have a good idea, let me know. I can't think of any specific examples where a baron ousted a sovereign, where a group of barons, anyway, ousted a sovereign. I'm sure there have been some, I just can't think of any examples. Okay, this one I do know, because this is a famous court case. Carolus versus Jacques Le Gris. Jacques Le Gris was a knight and squire, was accused of raping Carolus. It is the last, as far as I know anyway, the last judicial duel, I don't know how else to phrase it, in France. This is a case where they settled the by trial by combat. Officially, state-sanctioned trial by combat. And if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong about this, Jacques Le Gris did definitely lose that one. I don't remember much of the details other than I know that's what we're talking about here. Carrick sail across the sea, so that's Age of Exploration. Okay, continuing on. Okay, let's go through that section.
Rouge versus Jacques Le Brie, Carrack sail across the sea.
This is another, I believe this is referring to a text on medieval martial arts, European martial arts. The image certainly suggests that, and I'm pretty sure it is. Fetch book. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's a treatise on fighting techniques. It looks like we're doing probably side sword and buckler there, maybe.
Arslan and the Seljuks.
Arslan and the Seljuk. The Seljuk Turks. Don't know enough about this to really comment on it beyond that. It's the Turks. That's all I can really say. Sorry. Clontarf, I should know. See if I can see an image.
Arslan and the Seljuks. Clontarf.
I should know what this is. I absolutely should know. But I'm drawing a blank. I think I'm getting mental fatigue. I should know this one. Let me know. The Lombards I do know, and the Habsburgs for that matter. So the Lombards are Germanic leaders in Italy. The Habsburg, of course, another famous dynasty, best known for their elongated thin chins and things like that due to extensive inbreeding. Wait a minute. 1 second here. I'm an idiot. We just did this like a week or two ago. Clontarf is the battle of Brian Boru versus the Vikings. I knew that. That's Brian Boru versus the Vikings in Dublin. Battle of Clontarf. I knew I was feeling like an idiot on that one.
Lombards, Habsburgs, Bannockburn.
Bannockburn. Again, another one I should know. I mean, it's Scottish. But I don't remember the context of Bannockburn. It's a battle, but I don't remember which battle it is.
Church denied by Thomas More, Montezuma.
Church denied by Thomas More, yeah. Montezuma is no more, right. So Church denied by Thomas More is part of the English Protestant conflicts that go on. Montezuma is no more refers to the death of Montezuma during the fall of the Aztec kingdom under Cortez.
Is no more. Curse this German peasants' war.
Curse this German peasants' war. I'm not sure which war specifically they're talking about. There were a lot of peasant wars in history of what we think of now as Germany. Because, of course, it used to be a lot of little states. There were a lot of battles going on between the states, within the states. So I really can't think of anything to add about any particular, whether they have a particular battle in mind or not.
I can't take it anymore. We did not start the fire. It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. But when we are gone, it shall still burn on and on and on. We did not start the fire. It was always burning as the world was turning. We did not start the fire. No, we did not light it, but we tried to fight it.
I do like the images. They're very helpful for me guessing some of these. All right. Thank you, patrons. That was fun. I absolutely enjoyed that. The further we went into it, though, the harder it got for me. I don't know if that's because of the references or if it's because I was just getting mentally tired because they're just throwing so much at you. And I'm getting older, okay? My brain can't switch channels that fast anymore. Some of those later ones, like I knew them, but just drawing blanks. At least I got back to Clontarf. I felt really bad missing that one initially. Anyway, great variation. I think it'd be kind of cool if they did this for like every era. Obviously, with a group like Bardcore, we're going to be focusing mainly on medieval themes. But I'd love to see one of these for like the 1700s, one for the 1800s, one for the first half of the 1900s, and one for the 2000s. Fun stuff. But yeah, I think it's a great reminder that there's always been iconic figures, Joan of Arc, Marco Polo, Beowulf, whether legendary or real. Again, Genghis Khan, Saladin, and all those others, as well as epic battles, tragic events, the Black Death, so on and so forth. History is just full of so many different things. And it's fun to see them all just kind of laid out. I do like that some of these sections did kind of have a theme. Like we did have a section that seemed to always circle back to something directly or tangentially related to the Teutonic Knights. We had a section that kept circling around the 100 Years' War and the War of the Roses. Interesting stuff. I've got a lot of it. There's a few things I didn't get. A few things were very definitely guesses, but I think pretty decent guesses. Especially, like I said, the images help a lot with some of them. Anyway, I had fun with that. I really did, but I am exhausted from it too. My brain's just not as agile as it used to be. Keeping up with that many switches in place and time, just so rapid fire. I don't think I felt this tested since I did my very first video, which was Bill Wirtz's History of the Entire World, I guess, which was very similar in just spamming you with stuff and expecting you to keep up with it. So, fun stuff. Anyway, thank you for joining me. See you all next time. Bye-bye.